So working backwards, we're going to develop an equation. Okay, I have been given a vertex of 2, -4, and then I've been given a point 4, 4. So for me, I'm a visual person. I can see what that kind of looks like. If I have a vertex and then it goes through a point, it has to look upward, right? Has to go upward. Now, can we figure out what did we do in a movement to get from that point to that point? How much did you have to jot over and then up?
2 and 8.
You went 2 over, and then you did what?
8 up.
8 up. Okay, so if I was to look at a normal chart, is that what I should do? So what does your normal chart tell you to do? 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. So did we follow the normal chart? No. If we're to go over 2, we should be going up 4. So what did I end up multiplying that by that made me go up 8? 2. So my slope is 2. Okay, now we're going to make the equation. We know everything we need to know. The slope is 2. The vertex, we need to develop an equation. You need to pick either transformation or standard. You're going to plug in h, k, and the a. Your x's and y's need to be left open. Okay? Does it matter which one we want to pick? I don't care. I'm going to do both of them, and you pick which one you want to do. So if I pick the first one, y equals the slope multiplier 2, x, and then I need the opposite. This is the h part, and I need to go opposite. Subtract 2 squared. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then the k part. So you could have had either one of those, depending on which form you picked. Okay? All you can see is that my 4 is in the different spot. That's all that happened. Does it make sense? I just put it in to the h, k, and the a positions, and it made the equation. You always have to leave the y's and the x's open. You need equations with y's and x's. Okay, you know the quadratic had x-intercepts at 5 and 4. What did we do before this process to get an x-intercept? So it was on the page that we just did. Maybe you want to look at that. Where do I talk about x-intercepts? I talk about x-intercepts here. What did we do to get them? We factored. Can we work backwards? Okay, so the x-intercept was, I'm at the bottom of my page. I'm going to work up to the top. Okay, what would the factor have been above that gave me the answer of x equals 5? X subtract 5 would have been the factor. What would have been the factor above an x value of negative 4? X plus 4. Then, how do I get from here to where I started? Do you remember how to do that? The other math F word. Foil it. Okay, so it should end up with x squared. I'm going to put those outsides and insides together when I foil. You remember that process? 4x subtract 5x. So you have to think of, how did I get those x-intercepts? Well, I would have factored to get them, so now I got to work backwards of the factoring. And factoring and foiling are the opposite. Okay. 3. I need an equation from this table. So, first of all, looking at these coordinates, I got to figure out which one of these is my vertex. How do I know if something is a vertex? The symmetry would happen around that point. It's the only lonely point, and then there's symmetry around that point. Can you figure out which one that would be? Anybody pick that one? 1, 5 is the vertex. Why did I find that? Is this symmetry around it? Is this symmetry around it? You see the symmetry around it? Okay, now I need the slope. You need the slope and the vertex if you want to go anywhere in this form. So what is the slope? Tell me, what did I do over and up? So this made me move over by 1. And then what happened on your heights? What did they do? I went from a height of 5 to a height of 3. So that made me go down 2. If you want to try another, what did you do on this jump? You went over 2. From 1 to 3, that moves over 2. From 5 to negative 3 is a height difference of down 8. Okay, so what's happening? So this is the normal pattern. 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. But we went, instead of 1 up, we went down 2. Instead of 4, we went down 8. So what am I multiplying by? What's our multiplying factor? Negative 2. Okay, here we go. We got to plug this in and this in. Vertex and slope, it's the same as example 1. Can you do the plug-in? How are you going to plug that in? And remember, you can pick which one you want to do. Okay, remember to think about when you're plugging them in. Am I supposed to be using the opposite numbers or the same numbers? Okay, so in my first example, I did the method that was opposite, opposite. So there's why I subtracted 1, subtracted 5. If you picked the other form, this one was opposite, but this one was same, right? Okay, let's do one more of those. It's the same example. 4. Can you figure out in this table which one would be the vertex? The symmetry is based around it. So which coordinate would be the symmetry vertex? Did you find -2, 5? Okay, so there's our vertex because I can see some symmetric things happening around it. Okay, so from 1 point away, this would move over 1. And the y value did what? From 5 to 4 is down 1. What's my slope already? What did I multiply by? When you go over 1, what should you do? You should go up 1. And we went down 1. So -1. Okay, vertex and slope. Plug them in. Get me an equation. Okay, it doesn't matter which one you picked. Just make sure that we're matching with our pluses and minuses. Okay, number 5, I talk about transformations. Okay, that's the transformation talk. So if a quadratic gets flipped downward, what does that tell me about what letter? If you flip it, what did I do? A would be a negative. If I have shifted 2 units to the right, which letter does that attack? The A, the H, or the K? If I go right, it changes this position because X is moving left and right, X. So I'm going to need a plus or a -2. You're going to need a -2 in there because moving opposite, right? That position always is opposite. And it also got narrowed. So what letter does that attack? The A, the H, or the K? Getting narrowed is the A. The K would shift something up or down, and that's not the same. It says on an over 2, your y changed by 12. So what multiplier would that be? What would you have to multiply? What should you move when you go over 2? 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. I should have moved 4, but I went 12. So what is the multiplier factor there? 3. Okay, so I need to write y equals negative 3 x minus 2 squared. And that's it. There is no k value, which means the location of my vertex would be what? Your vertex is situated at positive 2, comma 0, right? It always tricks people when there's no k number or sometimes there's no h number, right? If you don't see it, that means it's on an axis somewhere. Okay, the last question is that I graphed something for you. So I need you to tell me the vertex and the slope. Those are the big ideas. What is the vertex? So I got 3, 5. And I'm going to find some other coordinate, which is there. I'm going to talk about how did I move there. How much did I move over? So I moved over 1 and I went down 2 and I got to a point. So then I got to think about my slope multiplier. If you go over 1, you should move up 1. But I went down 2. So what is my slope? My slope is negative 2. There's your items. So there's your vertex and your slope. You got to work backwards to get me an equation today. Last time I gave you the equation and you got vertex slope. So plug that in.
Right on time, right?
Just wrapping up.
I think so, Andy.
Okay, you don't need both of the answers, you just need one of them. So depending on which form you picked, it does not matter to me, as long as you know where you're putting in opposites or samers.